Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to tonight's City Council meeting. The meeting is called to order. I kindly ask our city clerk to please take the roll call.
Mike Bruno.
Here.
Tara Burkhardt.
Here.
Don Cummings.
Here.
Becky Ruby.
Here.
Dean Kilberg.
Kilberg here.
Craig Maladra.
Here.
Richard Marks.
Here.
Jean McGowan.
Here she comes.
Jim Radecki.
Here.
Robert Swanson.
Here.
And Jean McGowan.
Ladies and gentlemen, just a reminder that Alderman Kilberg, permitted by Illinois statute, is joining us via teleconference this evening. Any elected official in Illinois is allowed to participate in a meeting remotely if that council member is either traveling on business and or not feeling well. Tonight, Mr. Kilberg is in Lexington. And this might be the first time in history that we ask someone not present this evening to lead us in the pledge, because yesterday was Alderman Kilberg's birthday. So Alderman Kilberg will follow your lead from horse country.
Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Slow us down.
Thank you, Dean. That may be the first and last time in history we ever. Thank you very much, Dean. Happy birthday again.
Yeah, thank you.
Folks, our first item of business is item 3A, a presentation by Geneva's administrative intern, Chris Rainey, on the ever so aptly named Popular Annual Financial Report. Mr. Rainey, welcome.
Welcome. Thanks. Good evening, everybody. I'm
Chris, before you begin, what year in school are you?
I'm about to finish in May.
You are, and you'll have your MPA?
Yes, that is
Wow.
correct. I actually just turned in my final capstone paper today.
Is a capstone paper like a,
Like the whole program,
The whole
cumulative
pro-
type paper.
is it a
was
topic, a particular topic? or-
It was a case study on labor relations that happened in Corvallis, Oregon in the early 90s. So we had to do like a policy analysis of
Wow. You're a lot of fun to hang out with, aren't you?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Cool, man. Welcome.
Well, as you said, I'm Chris. I'm the administrative intern here, and I'm here tonight to present the Popular Annual Financial Report, or PAFR for short. You might remember last year we won the award from the Government Finance Officers Association, their award for Popular Annual Financial Reporting, and I'm proud to say that we got it again this year. And so kind of what a PAFR is, it's essentially kind of a condensed version of the annual audit or the comprehensive annual financial report. And it's kind of, shorter, made more easily to read and friendly to the general public and people that don't really have a background in finance. And so they have 4 judges that judge each PAFR on a scale from 1 to 10, or 1 to 5, excuse me, in categories such as reader appeal, understandability, distribution methods, other, including creativity and notable achievements, and then overall quality and usefulness of the report. And if you score over 75%, you receive the award, and glad to say we did get over 75%, so we did receive it again for the second year. Last year was the first time we created a PAFR, and we got it award last year, and we got it again this year. And then the 4 judges, the scores are kind of weighted on an average, and if you're over 75%, you receive the award. So now moving right into the actual document, you see here up on the screen, this is the title page. Put some nice pictures on there of Geneva. Then we move in kind of a letter from management kind of describing, again, what a PAFR award is, so the public can kind of get a sense of what they're reading. And then it also talks about how the information comes from the comprehensive annual financial report. So I started out with a little bit of facts about Geneva, nice little map showing where we're located. And then I also put in a little section about how we won the award for the first time last year. And every year they give you recommendations on how to improve the report. And they said they would like to see kind of like trends, like population trends and unemployment. So we added that this year to kind of give more of an overview about Geneva. And then here is the organizational chart and a picture and the previous city council because it was for last fiscal year. And then a little bit talking about the capital improvement program. The judges do like to have that in there to kind of get a sense of where money's going in the future for certain programs and projects. And highlights, I kind of talked about some of the awards. We have other awards we have won, including the Certificate of Excellence in Reliability.
Ironic, is that not that we're discussing? That's
Yeah.
No, exactly, it was not. Yeah.
Okay, so then we start getting into the fiscal information. This was, again, from the CAFR, kind of just showing a net position of the city's balances. And then I move into the general fund. This report only really talks about the three big funds, the general fund, the electric, and the water and wastewater. So here I talk about the revenues and give them a nice, pie graph on where most of the revenues come from, and also a table to show the exact numbers on the right-hand side. Then I move right into expenditures for the general fund, kind of showing where most of the money goes. And a little bit about the history, showing the kind of trends of expenditures and revenue sources over the last 5 fiscal years. And then now we move into the enterprise funds. Here's the electric fund. Kind of give a brief description about it. And then I put the revenues and the expense pie charts on the same page to save space. One of the judges, they do judge you on how condensed it is. So if you longer it is, the lower score I guess you'd potentially get. Right into water and sewerage. I did use if you see the 2 pictures from the Art on Fire, those were I think that was first place and second place. I figured that would be a good fit for the water fund.
It is.
Then we get into tax information. Property assessment kind of explains how property taxes are levied, including definitions on the right-hand side, and so people get a sense of how that works. And then this one I like, definitely, the dollar bill, which shows where residents' property taxes are actually going. And you see that the city receives 8 cents on the dollar of your total property tax bill. And then right into the sales tax, so kind of explaining where the sales tax comes from. All the different ones on the left-hand side there will show you the different percentages of the sales tax that equal up to the 7.5%. I also included a trend for the last 10 years showing sales tax revenues. And we talk about the general obligation debt, long-term debt, and just show citizens how much debt the city is in and the future trend of that and how it's going down. And then lastly, I finish up with kind of some additional information, talking about when the city council meetings are, when the committee of the whole meetings are. I actually get a lot of questions about where to recycle electronics, so I decided to put that link to the county's website so they can find out where they need to recycle their old TVs. Waste pickup information, and then there's kind of a directory of phone numbers and addresses of different places around town, so they could easily read that and know who to contact. And then that is the end of the report, and glad that we were awarded the award again this year, and I'm sure we'll get it again next year. Any questions?
Questions from Mr. Rainey, from anyone in the dais? Anyone in the audience? Mr. Kilberg?
Nothing here.
Chris, you've been with us for how many years now?
Since July of 2016.
Wow. So what are your plans after graduation? And
Well,
don't look at Stephanie.
Well, funny you should ask. We have a retirement coming with Sherry Whittle. I don't know if anybody knows that, but she will be leaving us, and so Chris is actually going to step in as a management analyst.
What the-
And fill that role.
yep, so that's
So-
my plan.
How's that for a softball question?
Thanks.
Congratulations, that's awesome.
So just gotta graduate in May, and then I'll be staying on.
And
And contingent upon his graduating in May.
should you, assuming you don't graduate, then what would you do? Now, I find this fascinating, because not only do you spend a considerable amount of time here, you dedicate a heck of a lot of time at school, but as I understand it, during the winter months, you also spend a lot of time doing
Plowing snow for my
plowing
dad's
snow
company.
with your dad's business. That's fascinating. So you could be up virtually all night sometimes.
Yeah. There have been many nights where I'm up all night snow plowing, yeah. And then even in the summer, occasionally, if I had extra time, I would work for him doing tree work as well. I'm a certified arborist as well, so.
What do you think of that, Roger? Roger's not easily impressed.
We should hire him.
That's cool. Thank you very much for the
Yep,
report.
thank
Anyone,
you.
anything for Mr. Rainey?
Congratulations
Thanks.
on you're getting your project turned in, and I'm glad you're staying on with the city. It seems like a great fit to have somebody who's worked here for 2 years, like really hit the ground running, so,
Yeah,
thanks.
thanks. I'm excited.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Item 4, folks, amendments to the agenda. Are there any amendments this evening? Item 5 is the omnibus agenda. All items marked with an asterisk are considered to be routine by this council and can be considered and voted upon with one motion. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Motion by, I believe it was Bruno, seconded by Marks. Questions or comments regarding the omnibus agenda? Seeing none, hearing none, Mr. Clerk, please take the roll.
Mike Bruno. Aye. Tara Burkhardt.
Aye.
Don Cummings.
Aye.
Becky Ruby.
Aye.
Dean Kilberg.
Kilberg, aye.
Craig Maladra.
Aye.
Richard Marks.
Aye.
Jean McGowan.
Aye.
Jim Radecki.
Aye.
Robert Swanson.
Aye.
Item 5 passes unanimously, ladies and gentlemen. We skip down to item number 9, under other items and correspondence, discussion, regarding the enterprise and miscellaneous funds fiscal year 19 and fiscal year 20 budgets. And this is an open discussion, ladies and gentlemen. This is, obviously was presented in your packet. Are there any particular topics, items that you'd like to discuss this evening? We have a number of our directors here, of course, and our subject matter experts to answer any questions you might have or clarifications you might need. Alderman Kilberg, is there anything you'd like to bring up
Nothing at this time.
from the dais? Alderman Radecki?
Yeah, I guess just a couple of real high-level just questions, probably Stephanie could answer them. I know we had the draft budget up there. I don't know if it'd be easier to bring it back up, but, so you know what I'm referencing. Okay. Maybe you don't need that. For the electric fund, for the funding, we're showing a pretty good increase from,
You tell me the page, because I
yeah, it's page 31 from the city council meeting 2. So if you go kind of to the bottom there, the difference between the 2018-2019 request, and this is on the funding side of it, and what we project we're going to come in for 2018, 2017, 2018, it's a pretty good increase. 40 million to 44 million, 6 something.
And actually, we have,
And Mr. Wright is here with us this evening as well, and
and you're just looking at the revenue, correct?
Yep, well, for now, just the revenue
So
side.
just
What's-
on the revenue side, I assume, just off the top of my head, it
Well,
has to
just
do
rate
with
action.
purchase power, and selling of purchase is usually our largest revenue source, but Hal, do you want to add to that? I know.
Yeah.
I can pull it up.
apologize. It might be easier. Yeah, we just had it up there.
I need to go to pay, oh. This one, of course.
It's 31.
Yeah, this one's the. 31. Okay. So he's looking here on your revenue side,
Yep.
going from 40 to 44.
Electric, and it would be the 20,
That's not your detail, it's just overall, all the revenue that you're collecting.
the 17, 18 projected to what we're requesting in the 2018, 2019 is a little over $4 million more. It's a pretty substantial difference.
So it could be reappropriation for capital projects as well.
I think that's what it is. I believe that's the reappropriation number.
So, in other words, it's taking
Hold on,
money,
Steph, wait till you get to your microphone there, because
taking money from the fund balance in order to do some capital projects, so more reinvestment in the system itself. We
Okay.
talked last year about reducing the
Right.
fund balance so that we could do more capital, so that would be,
So it's coming from the fund balance and not rate activity, I guess is
Yeah.
that's what I really was kind
yeah.
of getting at. is
If we dig
what's
into the
source of-
details, I'm sure that's where, what we'll
Right.
find. Sorry.
it's on page 87.
Thank you.
Let's see. I also-
Yeah, reappropriation is $3.6 million.
3.6.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
Way to go, Bob.
Yeah, geez, that's impressive.
I'm imagining Kilburg and Lexington with all these papers all over his desk.
Same thing with commuter parking, it looks like it's up 20. Under commuter parking too, it looks like it's up about 20%. Same question, same time period.
Okay, I'm getting there.
Yeah. Bob, what's the answer to that one?
I'm gonna let Dean take this one.
So the commuter parking is using 162 in fund balance. Some of that I know is to purchase the ticket software for the PD, split between the commuter parking fund, SSA number 1, and general fund, general capital. We've talked about that new software that they need for ticketing because theirs is very antiquated and doesn't speak to any other system. And I think
And-
that's,
Okay,
so that's the bulk of that.
okay. And then under group dental, how does that, I mean, we pay all the claims ourselves, so what you're doing is you're just funding what you're anticipating your exposure is going to be or what we're gonna run.
That's
into.
correct. Yeah, we have a third-party administrator who gives us kind of what they think the funding level should be, but then we take that information, look at our claims history, and then base our premiums based on that, so those premiums are deducted both from the employee and the employers and transferred into this fund.
Okay, and it looks like it's going up substantially, 163,025, 199.
I show
Again, it's on page,
revenues. I show the revenues going from 192 to 199.
group dental insurance.
Group dental, page 109.
Oh, I'm looking at 32 again I'm looking right here. Page 32.
So 163 is where we're projected to end this year, but if you look at the budget numbers, so again, a budget is kind of a worst-case scenario, so 163 is probably what we've brought in, if you're on the revenue side, or you're on the expenditure side. Is this the expenditure side? So that means we haven't had as many claims as we thought we might have. So what's ever left over will go into the fund balance. Yeah, that's the expenditure side. So we're anticipating spending roughly 163 this year in claims.
And
Next year, we
199.
kept it flat from what we budgeted last year, because that, so but again, if we don't have the claims, that money just goes into fund balance.
Okay. Okay, thank
But there
you.
was no change in premiums for this year.
Thank you.
Anything else, Alderman?
No.
Anyone else from the dais? Anyone from the audience? Any questions or comments? Anything else, Alderman Kilburg?
No, not at this time.
There's no action, ladies and gentlemen, just discussion, so we can move forward. Item 10, municipal bills for payment. I kindly ask our city clerk to please read the bills in their aggregate for our consideration.
Bills Bills presented for payment, $2,698,962.70.
Mayor, I move that we approve and pay the bills as read. The detail that adds up to that number can be found in tonight's packet on the city website.
The motion by Bruno to pay the bills as presented, which are available on the city's website and in the council members' packets. Is there a second? Second. Seconded by Alderman Ruby. Questions or comments? Anything, Alderman Kilberg? No. Mr. Clerk, please take the roll.
Mike Bruno.
Aye.
Jared Burkhart.
Aye.
Don Cummings.
Aye.
Becky Ruby.
Aye.
Dean Kilberg.
Gilbert, no. Or yes.
Craig Maladra.
Aye.
Richard Marks.
Aye.
Gene McGowan.
Aye.
Jim Radecki.
Aye.
Robert Swenson.
Aye.
Item 10 passes unanimously, ladies and gentlemen. We skip down to item number 12, presentation. There are none. Item 13, new business. Any new business, Alderman Kilberg, we'll begin with you, since apparently the scotch you're drinking is starting to warm up.
It's bourbon down there.
Was it bourbon? That's true, sorry.
No, I don't have anything now, Mayor.
Okay. Anyone from the dais? Alderman Bruno.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a shout out to Public Works. They were faced with a significant power outage, not of our own doing, where 60% of our power disappeared from ComEd. Under the circumstances, they pulled it together very well and restored power. So just again, kudos to Public Works on that.
Anyone else in the dais? Anyone joining us this? Alderman Kilberg?
Nothing here.
Okay. Anyone from the audience? Ladies and gentlemen, I believe we are at the point to entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So moved.
Alderman Marks makes the motion.
Second.
Alderman Bruno makes the second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Gilbert, aye.
Thank you, Dean. Good night, ladies and gentlemen.
Next.